Sophia thought her wedding day would be the happiest day of her life. But hours after saying "I do," she walked into a nightmare she could never have imagined. Her husband, her pastor, on her matrimonial bed. What followed was a storm of betrayal, dark secrets, and a truth so twisted it would change her life forever. This is the heartbreaking story of a bride whose fairy tale turned into a living nightmare on the very day she became a wife.
Before we unravel today's story, make sure to like, comment, and share. You're watching the Global Storyteller Official, where every tale leaves a mark.
Sophia had dreamed of this day since she was a little girl. The flowers, the music, the man she loved waiting for her at the altar. It all felt like something out of a fairy tale. Her white gown shimmered in the afternoon sun as she walked down the aisle, her heart pounding wildly with joy. David smiled at her, that familiar warm smile that had once made her believe love could conquer anything. His hands trembled slightly as he held hers, and though she noticed it, she brushed it off as nerves. After all, it was their wedding day, when Pastor Grace, their spiritual mother and mentor, blessed their union. Sophia's heart swelled. Grace had counseled them through arguments, prayed over them when things were tough, and even helped pick Sophia's dress. Sophia trusted her more than anyone. The ceremony ended in applause, laughter, and tears of joy. Family and friends cheered as David kissed her gently, whispering against her lips, "Forever, Sophia, you're my everything." Everything was perfect, or so she thought. Later that evening, after the reception, Sophia decided to return home early. Their friends had insisted on an after-party, but she wanted their first night as husband and wife to be intimate, just the two of them. David promised to join her soon, saying he needed to wrap things up with a few guests. Humming softly, Sophia entered their new home. A house they had decorated together, painting walls late into the night and arguing over furniture choices like any couple in love. The scent of roses filled the air. The bed had been adorned with petals. She smiled, placing her bouquet on the dresser. Then she heard it, a sound, muffled, low, coming from their bedroom. Sophia's heart skipped. Maybe David had surprised her, sneaking home earlier than promised. Smiling nervously, she pushed the bedroom door open, and her world shattered. David was there half-naked, and so was Pastor Grace, on their matrimonial bed. Time froze. Sophia stood frozen in the doorway, her veil slipping off, her breathing shallow. Grace's lips were on David's neck, their bodies entangled like lovers who had done this many times before. "David!" Her voice cracked. They both jumped, spinning around. David's face turned pale. Pastor Grace scrambled, clutching the bedsheet to her chest. "Sophia, wait!" David stammered, stepping toward her, his hands outstretched. Sophia stumbled back, tears blurring her vision. "How could you?" Her voice was barely a whisper, but the weight behind it could have crushed stone. "It's not what it looks like," David pleaded, his voice breaking. "Not what it looks like?" Sophia's chest heaved. "You on our wedding day? With her?" Her gaze snapped to Grace, betrayal slicing through her like a knife. "You were like a mother to me." Grace's face was cold, unreadable. She didn't even flinch. Sophia's knees buckled. The room spun. Without thinking, she turned and ran, the sound of her sobs echoing through the empty hallway. Outside, the rain poured mercilessly, soaking her gown as she stumbled into the street barefoot, clutching her torn veil. Cars honked, but she barely noticed. Her chest ached so badly it felt like her heart had physically split in two. Behind her, footsteps pounded against the wet pavement. "Sophia!" David's voice cut through the storm. "Please, just listen to me." She spun around, her hair plastered to her face, mascara streaked down her cheeks. "Listen to you? After what I saw." He reached for her arm, but she yanked it away. "It's not that simple," he shouted over the rain, desperation in his voice. Sophia laughed bitterly, the sound raw and broken. "Oh, it's simple. I married a liar, and the woman I trusted most betrayed me. That's simple enough." David's chest rose and fell rapidly, his wet shirt clinging to his body. His voice dropped to a trembling whisper. Please, Sophia, I can explain, but you need to hear the truth. It's not what you think. Her breath caught. His eyes, they weren't filled with lust or guilt. They were filled with fear. What truth? She demanded, her voice shaking. David swallowed hard, rain dripping from his chin. He hesitated, his gaze darting away. Grace, she's not who you think she is. A flash of lightning lit up the sky. And then, before he could finish, Grace's voice rang out from the doorway, sharp and commanding. David, don't you dare. Sophia turned toward the house, stunned, her pulse hammering. Grace stood there in her silk robe, rain soaking her hair, her expression fierce, like a predator cornered. David froze, his jaw clenched, his fists balled at his sides. Sophia's stomach churned violently. What is going on? She demanded. Neither of them answered. In that moment, Sophia knew. This wasn't just infidelity. There was something darker, something she wasn't supposed to know, and she was about to find out. Sophia, she owns me, and if you knew why, you'd never forgive me. Sophia's breath hitched. The rain pelted her skin, each drop cold as ice, but nothing chilled her more than David's words. She owns you. Sophia's voice trembled, her hands shaking as she clutched her soaked gown. What are you talking about, David? Grace stepped forward, her face unnervingly calm despite the storm. David, stop this nonsense, she said smoothly, her voice eerily steady. Sophia, go inside. You're upset. We can talk like adults. Sophia's eyes darted between them. Her gut twisted violently. She took a step back. No, no more lies. David's fists clenched. He looked at Sophia, his eyes red-rimmed, pleading, but his words came out hoarse. Sophia, Grace has been blackmailing me for 2 years. Sophia froze, blinking rain from her eyes. What? David glanced at Grace, then back at Sophia, guilt etched in every line of his face. She found out something about me, something I did years ago before I met you. She threatened to expose it if I didn't. His voice cracked. If I didn't do what she wanted. Sophia's stomach turned. What could she possibly have on you? Grace's lips curved into a cold, mocking smile. Careful, David. One more word, and your pretty bride will know the kind of man she married. Sophia's chest tightened painfully. Tell me, David, she begged. I deserve to know. David's voice shook. When I was 23, I was in debt, bad debt. I got involved in something illegal. His eyes burned with shame. Grace helped me bury it. She covered it up, but she's been using it against me ever since, threatening to destroy me and anyone close to me if I disobeyed. Sophia stared at him, horrified. The ground beneath her felt like it was crumbling. Grace stepped closer, her robe clinging to her curves, her gaze locked on Sophia. He's leaving out the best part, she said softly. I didn't just save him, I made him. Without me, David would be rotting in a cell. You owe your husband to me, Sophia. Sophia's heart pounded in her ears. And sleeping with you was part of your deal? Grace smirked. Oh, darling, it was more than a deal. It was a privilege for him. David flinched, his hands trembling. That's not true, he yelled, his voice cracking. Sophia, please. I hated it. Every moment. I thought I could end it when we married. But she... Enough. Grace snapped, her eyes flashing dangerously. Sophia staggered backward, pressing a hand to her mouth. Tears mingled with the rain. You both disgust me, she whispered. I trusted you, Grace. You prayed with me. You told me marriage was sacred. Grace's expression softened in mock pity. Oh, sweet girl, marriage is sacred. But men are weak. Your husband is proof of that. Sophia's knees wobbled. She wanted to scream, to tear her gown off and run until her legs gave out. But then David's voice broke through her spiral. Sophia, listen to me, he said urgently, stepping closer. She's dangerous. She's done this before, to other men, to other couples in the church. I tried to expose her once, but she threatened to ruin you. I stayed quiet because I thought I was protecting you." Sophia stared at him, her pulse racing. "Protecting me? By betraying me? I'm sorry," he shouted, his voice ragged. "I thought if I married you, I could find a way out. But she—" He turned to Grace, his face twisted in rage. "She wouldn't let me go." Grace's smile widened. "And I never will." Sophia's breath caught. The way Grace said it, like she owned him, like David was a puppet on her string, made Sophia's blood run cold. Then suddenly, Grace's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and her smirk faltered for just a split second. Sophia noticed. "What is it?" Sophia demanded, stepping forward. Grace hid the phone behind her back. "Nothing that concerns you." David's eyes narrowed. "Who was that?" Sophia's instincts screamed at her. Something else was happening here. Something even darker. Before anyone could speak, Sophia's own phone buzzed in her wet hands. She glanced down and saw a text from an unknown number. "If you want the truth about David and Grace, meet me tonight. Alone. 11 p.m. The old church office." Sophia's heart stopped. She looked up, her breath trembling. Grace's gaze was sharp, calculating, as if she sensed something had changed. David frowned. "Sophia? What is it?" Sophia hid the phone behind her gown, forcing her face into a mask of cold fury. "Nothing," she lied. Grace tilted her head, eyes narrowing suspiciously. Sophia stepped closer to David, her voice trembling but firm. "I need time to think. Both of you stay away from me." Then she turned and walked into the storm, her hands shaking around the phone, clutching the only lead that could unravel everything. As midnight approached, Sophia stood alone outside the abandoned church office, rain dripping from the eaves. Her phone buzzed again with a single message. "You don't know who your husband really is." And then, behind her, a floorboard creaked. The sound of that creaking floorboard froze Sophia in place. Her breath hitched, and goosebumps prickled her skin despite the rain-soaked chill in the abandoned church office. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice trembling. From the shadows, a man stepped forward, tall, rugged, with a face she didn't recognize. His expression was grim, his clothes damp from the storm. "You're Sophia?" he asked, his voice low but steady. "Yes," she said warily, her grip tightening on her phone. "Who are you?" "My name's Marcus," he replied, glancing over his shoulder nervously. "I used to be just like David." Sophia's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I was one of Grace's victims. She did the same thing to me: blackmail, threats, control. She has a pattern, Sophia. She targets men with secrets, dirt from their pasts, then strings them along while destroying their relationships." Sophia blinked in shock. "You're saying she's done this before?" Marcus nodded grimly. "I almost lost everything. My wife, my kids. When I finally tried to expose her, she framed me. She even had me arrested. I spent 6 months in jail for something I didn't do." Sophia's stomach turned. "And David? What secret is she holding over him?" Marcus hesitated. "He told you about the debt, didn't he?" Sophia nodded cautiously. Marcus sighed. "It's worse than that. Years ago, David got mixed up in an illegal business deal. Grace helped cover it up, but she never intended to let him go. She uses that leverage like a chain. If she releases the evidence, David could go to prison." Sophia's knees went weak. "Oh my God!" Marcus leaned in closer. "And there's something else. Grace isn't just blackmailing him. She's been siphoning money from him, too. Church donations, his savings. It all funnels back to her. She's building power through fear." Sophia's mind reeled. Betrayal from her husband was one thing, but betrayal from the woman she once called Mother Grace was beyond comprehension. Then Marcus's face darkened. "Sophia, I called you here because I have proof, documents, recordings, enough to bring her down." Sophia's breath caught. "Where?" Before Marcus could answer, a sudden crash echoed through the old building, with splintering, footsteps pounding. "Run," Marcus hissed. They bolted down the corridor as heavy footsteps followed. Sophia's heart raced wildly, her gown snagging on a splintered doorframe. Marcus pulled her free, shoving a folder into her hands. "Take it. This is everything," he yelled. Just then, Grace's voice rang out from behind them, sharp and venomous. "Marcus!" Sophia spun around to see Grace at the end of the hallway, her face twisted with rage, holding something metallic, a gun. David was beside her, drenched and wild-eyed. "Sophia, don't move!" he shouted. Sophia's blood ran cold. "David, what are you doing?" His voice cracked. "I'm trying to save you. Grace knows we're here." Grace raised the gun, pointing it at Marcus. "Hand her over, Marcus. She doesn't need to get hurt." Marcus stepped in front of Sophia. "Over my dead body." "Then so be it," Grace snarled, finger tightening on the trigger. "Stop!" David roared, stepping between them. His body shielded Sophia and Marcus. His voice shook as he turned to Grace. "If you want anyone, take me. This ends tonight." Grace's jaw clenched. Her gun wavered. "You'd betray me, David? After everything I've done for you?" David's voice broke. "You didn't save me. You destroyed me. You destroyed us all." The standoff felt endless, the storm outside hammering against the broken windows. Then, flashing lights cut through the darkness, sirens. Police burst through the doors, guns drawn. Grace screamed, dropping her weapon as officers restrained her. David fell to his knees, trembling. Sophia clutched the folder in her hands, her heart pounding like a drum. 1 month later, Grace was arrested on multiple counts: fraud, blackmail, coercion. The church disowned her. The scandal rocked the community. Sophia stood outside the courthouse, the winter sun weak against her face. David approached slowly, his eyes hollow, his hands trembling. "Don't expect you to forgive me," he said softly. "But I love you, Sophia. I always have. Everything I did, it was to keep you safe." Sophia stared at him, her heart torn. "You broke me, David. On our wedding day, you broke me." He lowered his gaze. "I know." Sophia took a deep breath, clutching her coat tighter around her. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. David's head snapped up, his eyes wide. "But this," she continued, her voice trembling, "this baby will not grow up in lies and chains. I'm leaving, David. For me. For them." As she walked away, the folder of evidence clutched against her chest. Sophia whispered to herself, "This ends with me." Behind her, David's sobs were lost in the cold wind. That night, as Sophia unpacked in her new apartment, she found a sealed envelope inside Marcus's folder. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a letter in David's handwriting. "If you're reading this, it means you finally know everything. I wanted to tell you the truth long ago, but I was too much of a coward. Grace didn't just blackmail me. She threatened to kill you if I ever left her. Forgive me, Sophia. I only ever loved you." Tears blurred Sophia's vision. She sank to her knees, clutching the letter. Her heart was shattered, but for the first time in weeks, she felt free. Moral lesson: trust is sacred. Once broken, it rarely returns the same. Even those closest to us can carry secrets that change everything. Never ignore the signs, no matter how beautiful the picture looks on the outside. And above all, never let betrayal define your future. You have the power to walk away, to heal, and to choose peace over pain. Betrayal on your wedding day, by the two people you trusted the most. Would you forgive him if he said he did it to protect you? Would you walk away, or fight for the love you thought you had? What would you do if your entire marriage started with a lie? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories with shocking twists. New stories every week. Don't miss the next one.